Ruben. Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Sorry, very quick entrance then. We're testing out a little bit of a different way of how to introduce the show. But anyway, welcome back to the United Stand. It is the afternoon show and we have a huge blow for Amorim regarding the transfer window, and also a huge blow for Amorim regarding Ayden Heaven. We thought his protective boot was off. We thought he was going to be back in training. That is not the case. We have an update on Heaven's injury and it's not looking good so far. Frustrating. We also have Bournemouth Semenyo, someone that's been targeted for Manchester United for the number 10 role. His price has been set by Bournemouth. It's a massive price. Does that cut down our options when it comes to getting the number 10 in? Also, some news around Kobbie Mainoo and his future at Manchester United as well. And Portuguese centre-back Inácio, who's been managed by Ruben Amorim before at Sporting Lisbon, is on Manchester United's radar for the summer. Manchester United need a centre-back. We need a relatively cheap centre-back with all the options we're going for. Could Inácio be the player we go for? Amid talks with Manchester United and talks with Bruno Fernandes on the Portuguese international break. But welcome everybody for the show. Welcome. A bit of a shaky start there, but we are here. Let's get straight into things. Get your super chats in as well. Get your chats in. Get involved. Who do you want in the number 10 positions? Would you want Semenyo? How are you feeling about Kobbie Mainoo? Are you frustrated? Is it a little bit strange that it seems to only be British outlets that are being briefed on the Kobbie Mainoo news about him pushing for a bigger salary and a bigger deal? Why has Fabrizio Romano not picked it up? Fabrizio Romano usually gets this sort of information. Why has he not put it out there? Is it a brief by the club? Do you think it's the right thing? Get your comments in down below. But starting off, this is official news. The Premier League transfer window will open on Sunday, the 1st of June to Tuesday, the 10th of June, due to an exceptional registration period relating to the FIFA Club World Cup. It will then reopen on Monday, the 16th of June and close on Monday, the 1st of September, in like with other European clubs. Why is this a blow for Manchester United? Manchester United will not be able to spend money, or will not be able to spend much money at all until July the 1st. So the fact that the transfer window will open between Sunday the 1st of June till the 10th of June, before it reopens on the 16th of June, heading all the way into the start of September, is a problem for us. Why is this a problem for us? For example, say if Manchester United want Cunha from Wolves, which rumours is that we do. Arsenal have also been rumoured to want Cunha from Wolves. If Arsenal and Manchester United are head-to-head in trying to get Cunha from Wolves, Arsenal can spend money before July the 1st because they're not massively up against it with FFP the way we are. The new financial year starts for Manchester United on July the 1st, which frees us up in terms of finances. So if Arsenal really want to get this deal done, they could do it, theoretically, between Sunday the 1st of June and Tuesday the 10th of June, and we are in the position where we can't really do anything because we're not going to have the money until the 1st of July. That's how it can affect Manchester United. We could miss out on targets that have competition because other clubs can get ahead of us, get these deals done, and other clubs are probably going to be happier about that. If Wolves are losing, and this is just an example, if Wolves are losing Cunha, they're going to want the money in pretty quickly so they can go and find a replacement. They're not going to want to be hanging around. They're not going to be waiting around. And if a club really wants to get a player, when there's a battle on, there's a transfer race on, you want to go and get them early doors. So Manchester United, we say it every single year. We want to have the plans in place. We want to know who we're going for. We want to be absolutely clear on who we're bringing in for Ruben Amorim, what positions we're prioritising and how our transfer window is going to look. If you can't move until July the 1st and you've got a transfer window open for 10 days at the start of June, that allows other clubs that are already further ahead of us to go and get some business done before we can really do it. And that's frustrating for Ruben Amorim. It's a big reason why we lost out on Kender. Kender, no matter which way you wrap it up, Kender was wanted by Ruben Amorim. He was. People can sit here and say, oh, we want someone for the now. You know, we wanted to go back to Sporting. We couldn't really afford to spend that money on such a big loan deal because he's going to go back. We wanted Kender. Amorim wanted Kender. The big Portuguese outlets, as soon as we got Ruben Amorim in, said that the number one player that Amorim would want from Sporting Lisbon would be Kender. David Ornstein was reporting how Manchester United planned to sign Kender, literally in the January transfer window, where he was reporting that Kender was a huge priority for the summer. Chelsea was able to go and get him because they could do that deal. We could not match the financial package currently because we've got to wait. We've got to wait to sell players, and then we've also got to wait for players to come in. The only way this could benefit us is in regards to selling players. But Manchester United aren't very good at selling players anyway. The transfer window being open from the 1st of June to the 10th of June, that means Rashford deal, Sancho deal, Anthony deal, other players that we are potentially letting go of and selling. We have to get that business done then, because then that puts us in a great position going into July where we can actually do some business and we will have money there because we will have profit. That's how you could flip this on its head. You're looking in, you're thinking, first 10 days, we could be having targets sweep from us left, right and centre, and Manchester United are stuck there, hands tied behind their backs because they don't have the money, because they need to sell players and they need to wait for the new financial year. How do you turn a negative into a positive? First 10 days of that transfer window where it's open before there's that brief interruption from the FIFA Club World Cup, you get the outgoings done. And it is hard, oftentimes in recent years and even last year, outgoings usually come towards the end of a transfer window because other clubs are waiting for you to back down on your price. And that's just the way things go in football. You're waiting for, it's basically like waiting for someone to blink. We did it with Napoli and McTominay with the price that they paid for him. But we have to get the obvious ones done. The Rashford one, the Sancho one, the Anthony one, they have to be done. And by the looks of things, I won't be surprised if once again, we're kind of putting Kobbie Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho in the shop window saying, does anyone want to go and take a bid? Because we're definitely looking to sell at least one of them players. I know that there's been some rumours on Twitter that we're much more likely to sell Alejandro Garnacho than we are Kobbie Mainoo. But based on what's coming out today from pretty good sources around the MEN in Stephen Railston, who I know, and I know he would not put something out there unless he was well sourced, Kobbie Mainoo could also be going. And this could be where Manchester United get their outgoings done, and then you've got your budget going into July and you can get your incomings into the football club, and that's where you can go and spend the money. This summer transfer window, I honestly cannot wait to see how it kicks off. I cannot wait to see how Manchester United go about it, because we could have a really good summer transfer window if we play our cards right, but there's also situations in place where we could really trip up. The fact that there's 10 days open at the start and then it closes again and then you're back on from the 16th of June, there's areas where Manchester United could easily slip up, and I feel like the old regime would have done. We have to go into the transfer window with a clear plan, already having conversations with players about where their future is and knowing exactly what we're going to do. In the past, we've had excuses where we're going to sell Maguire, but didn't have a chance to have a conversation with him before he went off to the Euros, European competitions, World Cups, etc, etc, etc. This season, we don't have the FIFA Club World Cup. It is just a pre-season. There is no international football for our players. There is no excuses to not go into that transfer window knowing where the players' futures are, that they have had that conversation with the club and have had the conversation with Ruben Amorim, and we know exactly what our targets are. I remember the summer where Harry Maguire nearly went to West Ham. That happened so late doors and probably didn't end up happening because at the time there was international competition and we didn't get a chance to speak to Harry Maguire. This year, and I'm not naming Harry Maguire as a player, but there'll be players there where you can have the conversation with them. If Alejandro Garnacho isn't part of the future for Amorim, he can sit down with him and say, we're probably going to look to sell you this summer, so, here's the situation. I'm just naming a player and giving an example. There is no excuses not to be clear, and there's no excuses to be rushing around this summer. It's huge for Ineos, and it's Amorim's first transfer window. It's their guy, it's their manager's first transfer window. There is no room for error. We cannot waste any money, and if we lag behind other clubs, we will get left behind. And that's the bit I'm worried about. That opening week where we can't really do anything, are other clubs going to go and nick our transfer targets, and then we're kind of left like, or we need to pivot to plan B, C, D, and do we have them lined up? And we've got to make sure we do have a plan. Thank you everyone for getting your comments in already. Joel Stafford says, if we win the Europa, the winning proceeds should go towards the transfer market, especially to get early transfers in, knowing this information. We say it every year though. We say every year that we need to get transfers in, and it doesn't happen. Opening week, for me, big time is about outgoings. Get in the comments down below and I'll tell you mine in a second. Who are your priorities to leave Manchester United this summer? And there's obvious ones, and unfortunately we do have to think like this, and we shouldn't have to. There's ones where you think we could get a bit of money for them and that could go into our transfer pot, and that could influence the depth of players we're going to get in, and or how many positions we're going to get in. Get in the comments down below, what would your priorities in moving players out of the football club, because that's what Manchester United are going to have to target first. Also, it's a big if on if we win the Europa League. I hope we do, but we've got all our eggs in that basket. It's a cup final at the end of the day. Anything can happen. Like, we can't absolutely rely on that. Patrick Lynch says, issues with outgoings is who will we be selling to and at what price? For example, it seems clear Rashford wants Barca. That'll be difficult. That's absolutely true. And I'm talking about outgoings as if, you know, instantly we're going to put a player in the shop window and we're going to have bids flying left, right and centre. Like I said, with outgoings, they usually do happen towards the end of the window because you're waiting for the other club to kind of move a little bit, and they're waiting to see what money they have. It's like a standoff. But you can at least get the ball rolling. You can start having conversations with clubs. You can start having conversations with players. And with instances like the Sancho and the Rashford and the Antony, they're all in situations where Real Betis has already expressed interest to keep Antony. Whether it's an extended loan or permanent, we'll have to wait and see. Villa haven't made a decision on Rashford yet, as per Fabrizio Romano, but it looks like, you know, Rashford to Villa, I think, would be a really good move for him. Apparently he's enjoying himself. I don't think he'll be pushing Barcelona as much as you think. I think Villa will have probably opened his eyes up to what he can actually do there, and they're still in a really good position to win the FA Cup. If they won the FA Cup with Rashford and he plays a big part in that, Villa could be triggering that 40 million and Rashford could be wanting to stay. So that's one you could wrap up pretty quickly. And obviously Sancho, they have an obligation to buy him, and even though they could use the break clause for 5 million, as of now, it's being reported that Chelsea do intend to continue and continue with that deal and will buy him. So they're deals you could wrap up pretty quickly if you got your ducks in a row and had it all kind of sorted out. So hopefully them three will definitely happen. And then there's other players you've got to go and look at as well. We've got more news coming in as well. And this is where do you go and replace the players that are going? Because Lindelof's going to go instantly. He's on a free. Eriksen's going to go instantly. He's on a free. You're going to have to replace these players. It looks like Harry Maguire is going to stay. We are going for a centre-back, though, and that's been named by Fabrizio Romano. Do we go for a younger centre-back to eventually be the successor to Maguire? Where do we go in terms of a centre-back? Because this is the news that is coming out from a Portuguese outlet. And let me just get the outlet up, because it's a Portuguese outlet that's been good with Portuguese news in the past. So it's Ebola in Portugal. And they have said, and this is on Inacio, and if you remember, Manchester United have been linked to Inacio for years now. For years. And he has worked with Ruben Amorim. He's played under Ruben Amorim, young centre-back. This is what they're saying. Manchester United are reportedly closing in on a £37 million deal for Sporting defender Gonçalo Inácio, with captain Bruno Fernandes potentially playing a key role in the deal. According to reports in Portugal, the Red Devils are preparing to swoop for the centre-back as Ruben Amorim looks to bolster his defensive options, with doubts over the future of Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. So the Express there are talking about doubts over Harry Maguire as well. United have been named as a potential destination for the 23-year-old and could face competition from Borussia Dortmund for his signature. A Ebola report that the Portuguese giants are ready to demand a £37 million fee, which is €45 million for Inácio, who is considered an important player. And United have been on the verge of that deal for some time. He has 14 caps playing for Portugal after making his debut in 2023, and he's expected to feature at the World Cup next year. So Inácio is one that has been on the cards for a while. Would he be my first choice coming out of Sporting Lisbon for a centre-back for Manchester United? I'm going to be honest, no. Reason being is, I think there's other centre-backs at Sporting Lisbon that are actually better than him and more important than him. Diamande, for example, I absolutely love. And if it's a replacement for Harry Maguire, we should be looking at a central centre-back. I don't think we should be looking. But though Martinez does have injuries and Inácio is the Martinez replacement, but then you're looking at Ayden Heaven and Ayden Heaven looks comfortable. When you're looking at the three centre-backs, which area do you think we need depth in the most? Because you have the right-sided centre-back role, which I think is pretty well filled. You have Mazraoui, who can play there, who would be starting centre-back for me there. You have Yoro, who can play there. De Ligt can also play there. You've then got, if at a push, Dalot could probably play there, but you're probably not wanting that to happen. The central centre-back role, you have Lindelof's played there, but he's going. De Ligt is probably the main guy in that central centre-back role. And then you also have Maguire, who can play there, but he might be going as well. We're unsure on his contract. There was rumours he was getting a new contract. That sort of quietened down. Is Maguire going to go? And then on the left side, you have Yoro can play there, Mazraoui can play there, Heaven can play there, and Martinez can play there. Martinez would probably be the starting centre-back, but he has got injury problems. Where needs the most depth across them three? I think it's the central centre-back role. With Lindelof going, and with Harry Maguire probably not having long left in him at Manchester United, if he does stay, it's probably only going to be for another year. He's not getting any younger, and his contract sort of up in the air. Where do you need to go and invest that money for a centre-back? I would say the central centre-back role, although a lot of people say the left-sided centre-back role because we need a specialist and it's a really important part of Ruben Amorim's system. The left-sided centre-back gets the ball, drives up the pitch, drives into the midfield, and I understand how important that is. That's why Lisandro Martinez, when he got injured, was a big miss. But I don't want to get too carried away, but Heaven really does look like the real deal. Yoro was looking way more comfortable in that position, and I honestly really trust Mazraoui to play both sides. I'm not even including Luke Shaw because that's just an absolute... The fact we found out earlier today that he's on 200 grand a week and that's been kept quiet, mind-blowing, won't get back into it. But if I'm going for a centre-back in the summer, me personally, I think the central centre-back is probably the one that we want to look at the most, and I think you need to get in somebody who is maybe a younger centre-back that isn't that expensive, that can be the understudy to De Ligt. If Maguire stays, be the, kind of competing alongside Maguire for that central centre-back role with De Ligt and learn from them and kind of grow into that role. You've got Heaven, who's going to grow into that left-sided centre-back role. You've got Yoro, who's going to grow into that right-sided centre-back role and could probably play anywhere across the three, really. Yoro's super versatile. But I think you need that young player coming into that central centre-back role. And the Bournemouth centre-back, what's he called? Hulson? He looks fantastic. And I know a lot of people looking at him, I don't know how expensive he'll be. I'm sure he'll be worth quite a bit of money. He would suit that central centre-back role at Manchester United. That's where his position would be. There's been a lot of interest from a lot of clubs. There was reports earlier today that Real Madrid were interested in him. So he's someone to keep an eye on that. I know Manchester United are looking at as well. But then we've been linked to Jared Branthwaite a lot, and you would argue that Jared Branthwaite would be the left-sided centre-back. Could probably play central as well. But you would argue his position would be left-sided. So where are Manchester United prioritising? I would say we'd have to prioritise the central, but I think Manchester United are probably looking at the left-sided option. Palm says we got Kikonki. That's a really good shout from the chat. Apparently, Godwill Kikonki is on the verge of being offered his first senior contract at the age of 17. Amorim included him early days in his matchday squad. He was probably one of the first youth players that Amorim started to include in his matchday squads. He's not played yet for the first team, but apparently Amorim really likes him. He's a left-footed, left-sided centre-back. So that could be another area for that left-sided centre-back role. This is all, just keeps confirming to me, central centre-back. Who would you go for as a central centre-back? Diamandi from Sporting Lisbon. Tick, 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 tick. Ticks every box. Every box for me. He looks so good. But do you go back to Amorim's old team? Do you look elsewhere? How expensive is he going to be? He's a super important player for Sporting Lisbon. That's something you've got to look at as well. Also, Evans is retiring. A lot of people are saying, quite a few people in the chat saying that Yoro can play central centre-back. I personally think at this point in his career, Yoro is better in the wide centre-back roles. He's very mobile. He can cover across the ground really well. He's good at driving the ball out from the back. I would put Yoro in them wide areas right now. The central centre-back role for me currently it's De Ligt's role to lose. I think De Ligt that's his best position. I think De Ligt's better central than he is on the right side when he plays there. He's very versatile. He's a leader. He can kind of go across them them free positions if needed. But I think De Ligt's best position by far is that central centre-back role. But for Ruben Amorim's system, you're going to need multiple players to play multiple different roles. We're going to have a lot of games, and we don't want to be overplaying players, and you're also going to want players for the future as well. You have... I'm just looking here. I've got some more chats coming in. Hulson, £50 million release clause. Is that true? Let me get it up now. Let's get a poll going in the chat. Central centre-back role. Diamande or Hulson from Bournemouth. I really want to know which one you guys would prefer. Hulson's 19 years old, plays for the Netherlands and is currently playing for Bournemouth. We knew that. But what's his release clause? I'm having a look here because it's saying, I'm seeing, Hulson has enjoyed a breakthrough season so far in the Premier League since his £15 million move from Juventus last summer. The teenager is also understood to have a £50 million release clause in his contract at Bournemouth that can be triggered this summer. Okay. That is... Sorry, he plays for the Spanish national team. 1 second. Plays for the Spanish national team. Why is this page flipping out on me? Just because there it said he was hold on a sec. It said he was born in Amsterdam, so I got it mixed up. But he's been playing for the Spanish international team, and £50 million release clause. Wow, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that £50 million release clause. So that's one to think about. It's still a lot of money. It's still a lot of money for a 19-year-old, and you've got to be sure that that money is going to be put to good use. And there's other positions that Manchester United need. We need a 10, arguably 2 10s. We need a striker. There's talks about us going for Frimpong, a right wing back. You also have talks of us going to get a midfielder to replace Casemiro. There's also talks of Amorim wanting a goalkeeper. 50 million, although, you know, if he goes on to hit the heights that a lot of people are expecting him to hit, it'd be a good fee. It's still a lot of money for a player of 19 years old that had a £15 million move last year. And this is where Manchester United need to improve, and this is where Ayden Heaven is such a good purchase. We should have been getting on to Hulson from Bournemouth while he was at Juventus, and we should have done that move for £15 million. That's where we should be at. That's where we should be aiming to be. We need to be one step ahead of the game, because that was such a good purchase from Bournemouth, and they're going to earn good money off this player. Whether somebody triggers a release clause or whether they keep him and then he goes next season or whatever happens with him, that's where we need to be at. Because Ayden Heaven, and as much as I really rate Lenny Yoro, and it's nothing against him, he obviously didn't choose his transfer fee. I watch Ayden Heaven and I watch Lenny Yoro, and for me, they're probably both at the same stage in their career. They both look very similar. Similar levels of ability and similar levels of potential. We got one for over 50 million and we got the other one for £1 million. And that's nothing against Lenny Yoro because they both look really good. But that's where Manchester United, we need to be doing business where we're getting good players in that have a high ceiling, but we're doing it in a clever way and we're not always spending a big chunk of money. A lot of people are talking about Inacio and the fact that he's only 23 and he's obviously got levels to go up. I understand that. I do like him. I just don't know if he'd be my priority when we're going for a centre-back in the summer, especially if we're looking for a centre-back that's eventually going to replace Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, he's really good at defending both boxes. He's really good aerially. He's really good in the duel. You want someone who's going to kind of take over that role. You want someone who's going to win them aerial duels, be dominant in both boxes, have more pace than Harry Maguire, of course, and be able to hopefully be better than Harry Maguire. But Harry Maguire of late has been pretty steady centre-back, and if you're looking to replace him, you want to get someone in with similar attributes. That's what I'm thinking along the lines of if we are just going for that one centre-back this summer, which I think we should be. I was honestly a little bit surprised that we are going to go for a centre-back. We bought 2 centre-backs last year, but I suppose they are a big, big part of Amorim's system. But the poll is now up, so make sure you get voting in the poll as well. Kenshin says Lenny Yoro rejected Real Madrid. Hulson will do the same with us. A lot of people talked about the Real Madrid interest. Yeah, Real Madrid will be interested. They're looking for a centre-back. He's a really good up-and-coming prospect. But at the end of the day, you know, you've got to be in the race to win it. Is he even the centre-back you would go for? I still think £50 million is a lot of money to spend on a 19-year-old after we've literally just spent over £50 million on Lenny Yoro last summer on a centre-back. You know, you can't win every race. You can't get every single prodigy that's coming out. Like, you can't do everything. And we need to prioritise experience levels that we need, positions that we need, and where we spend our money is on the positions we need the most. And for me, they're in our forward positions. Centre-back for me would be one of the... I think we do need to go for it, but it wouldn't be something I'm spending the whole transfer budget on, for sure. That's something I would be doing on the cheaper side of things after the amount we spent on centre-backs last summer as well. But in terms of where we could be spending money in the front line, this is coming out as well because there has been a lot of talk about what number 10 Manchester United and Ruben Amorim is going to go for. And a name that has been cropping up recently is Semenyo from Bournemouth. Semenyo is an absolute baller. All of Bournemouth's team are pretty much ballers, to be honest with you. Hulson is a baller at centre-back. Can we have a three-way package, please? Three-way package. Hello, 1 second. It's only a Thursday afternoon, Beth, chill out. But can we have Hulson, can we have Cliver, and can we have Semenyo, please? Thank you very much, Bournemouth. They are absolutely killing it in the league, and they are doing fantastically well, and they've got a really good team. But Semenyo is such a talent. Every time you watch Bournemouth, you can tell how good he is. He is someone that apparently Manchester United have shown a bit of interest in going into bolstering their forward line in the summer. Clivert's another one that I know a lot of the fans have spoken about, but Semenyo seems to have picked up more pace in terms of who Manchester United are looking at. However, it's just come out that Bournemouth have put a £70 million price tag on Semenyo, and I think that rules us out. I think instantly that rules us out. And also, if Semenyo's going for 70 million, what price tag does that give some of our players that we might be looking to shift on in the summer? Because apparently, and I do not want to sell Kobbie Mainoo. I've been very clear on that. I know some people probably do. I don't. I'd say the majority of the Man United fan base don't. But apparently, Manchester United are looking for offers in the range of 70 million for Kobbie Mainoo. If Semenyo's going for 70 million, then Kobbie Mainoo, for me, is going for more than 70 million. I know it's different positions, but I think Semenyo's a quality player. But 70 million pounds? 25 years old, I think it's a little bit of a stretch from Bournemouth, to be honest with you. When I was looking at Semenyo, I was thinking more around 40, 45 million. That's where I was looking. I'm just looking now at what year his contract runs out with them. 25 years old is a great age to come into the club, by the way. Semenyo signed a 5-year contract with Bournemouth. Yeah, but when does it go to? It goes to 2029. So yeah, whatever price they want, they can stick to it. So absolutely not. We're not going Semenyo for 70 million. Does that kind of cross out one of our options? And I'm looking at the options we're going for, and I'm just kind of looking at Premier League options we've been linked to. We've been linked to Semenyo. We've been linked to Eze, which I know a few of you aren't too keen on. He'd probably be towards the bottom of my list, although I will die on this hill. He's still an upgrade on what we've got. He's absolutely still an upgrade on what we've got. Great at set pieces, great with the ball at sticking to his feet, great at taking on players, great at seeing the final ball. He's just injury prone, but he's a really good player. Eze's son we've looked at. I think you'd be able to get him for... I don't think you'd have to spend that much on Eze, just because I think Crystal Palace, I think they'll realise they've kind of missed the boat of the peak price you could have got for Eze when he was absolutely killing it and he was on fire. I think his value's gone down slightly. So I do think you'd be able to get him for... I'm trying to think. Let me have a look when Eze's contract runs out. But I know a lot of you guys in the chat aren't too keen on Eze because I've brought it up before and I've got pelters for it. Eze Crystal Palace contract. Let me have a look. Here. Why is it not coming up? It is 2027, so... Again, it's not one that you can really negotiate too much with Crystal Palace on, but I do think you could probably get him out for around 40 million. Maybe a little bit less. Nah, it's not going to be less. It's not going to be less. I'm fooling myself here. I'm living in Delulu land. I'm thinking about it. Premier League, it's probably going to be around... How old is he actually, Eze? He's not as young as what I thought, to be honest with you. And this can sometimes have an effect on things. Eze, Crystal Palace, age. He's 26, again, a really good age, to be honest. I thought he was 27. I thought he was a little bit older. But injury prone, I'm hearing from the chat straight away. You've got a lot of people saying Yildiz. I am not 100% sold on Yildiz, to be honest. I also think his agent is pushing that massively. From what I've seen, the news coming out around Yildiz from Juventus, it just seems to be the agent trying to push for a move for him. And I'm not 100% sold on him, I'm going to be honest. I think we need someone with a bit more experience and someone who is, I'm absolutely sure, is going to come in and is going to be fantastic. And he's going to ensure that he's delivering for me every single week. With Yildiz, he's only 19. I need someone who's a bit more assured in them positions for now. He might go on to be a top player. I know he's definitely, got a lot of fans out there, and I know he's definitely showing some potential. But I've said it on multiple shows, I can't be potential FC. I need attacking players coming in that I know for a fact are going to contribute. Eze, I'm not worried about his talent. I know he can do it in the Prem. What I'm worried about is his injury issues. That stops you from doing it on a consistent basis. Yildiz, I know he's got talent. I know he's very versatile. He's a very attacking player. But at 19, are you going to be able to deliver for me every single week? Are you actually suited to that number 10 role? Is that your best position? Mbeumo is another player we've been linked to. Rumours that you can get him out of Brentford for around 45 million. We have to... If you're saying to me, and I was having this conversation the other day, and I'm going off on a tangent here, but this is what the show's about, and come back and forth with me and interact with this one. I was having this conversation with Marge yesterday, and I was saying, because the Frimpong news came out, I watched Matt's 2 PM, and he was talking about Frimpong, and Frimpong wanted to come back to Manchester, and how Manchester United really like Frimpong, and I feel like Frimpong has just been a saga that's been ongoing for years with Manchester United. There's no doubt about it that Manchester United like him. But if you said to me, you have 2 options, Beth, for the start of next season. And rival fans might laugh at this and say, who do you think you are? You're not going to get any of these players. And I'd say, to be fair, you have a right to do that, but let me live my fantasy. You have 2 options, Beth, next season. You can either have Frimpong playing it right wing back, he's starting there, and Ahmad starting it right-sided 10. Or you have Ahmad starting it right wing back and Mbeumo starting it right-sided 10. Which one do you pick? And as much as I like Frimpong, I instantly said Ahmad it right wing back with Mbeumo it right-sided 10. Get in the comments down below which one you would do, because as much as I like Frimpong, don't get me wrong, I would not turn my nose up. If you said to me, Frimpong will be starting it right wing back and Ahmad starting it right-sided 10 next season, I wouldn't say, oh God, what are we doing here? Like this ain't looking good. Like I'd be happy with it. But for me, a player like Mbeumo just does take us up a level. He is someone who is proving to provide in the Premier League week in, week out. And he's done it. It's not a one-season wonder. He's done it year on year. He's done it for Brentford while Ivan Toney was there. Ivan Toney left, no problem. I'll pick up the pace, and he becomes the main man. He was already doing really well when Ivan Toney was there. I used to say he was underrated at that club. Do you remember when everyone was saying if he had a different hairline, he'd be on the same... Everyone would rate him as highly as they did with Michael Olise before he left and went to Bayern Munich. So Mbeumo is definitely a player. And I actually think Ahmad's better out wide. I think the reason we push him so much into the number 10 role is because he's our best player we've got. He's the best attacking player we've got, and he's the player that's most likely to make something happen in front of goal. Because everybody else is kind of not at his level, you've got to put Ahmad as close to goal as possible. But realistically, I think his skill set is best out wide, especially in an Amorim system. It's best where the wing backs are bombing on and getting forward. I think that's where Ahmad would thrive. So that's what I would go for. Ahmad at right wing back and Mbeumo right side 10. So if you actually can get Mbeumo out of Brentford for around 45 million, I would be all over that. All over it. But there's going to be competition. Apparently Arsenal interested. Other clubs will be interested as well. He's been killing it. Let me quickly get up Mbeumo's stats in the Premier League this season as well. Brentford. So in the Premier League this season, he's got 15 goals and 5 assists, 29 matches. So 20 goal contributions in 29 matches in the Premier League. He's doing fantastically. And not only is his stats good, when you watch him play, he's great as well. Cunha is another one that I know a lot of people talk about. Wolves apparently are pushing more towards the 60 million mark. I don't know what's going on with his contract there. There seems to be all different conversations about his contract. Apparently Arsenal really want him, but then Mikel Arteta was slightly put off by the amount of red cards he's had and behavioural problems, what have you. That doesn't bother me, to be honest with you. I think Wolves is a big fish in a small pond. I think at United, he comes into his own, especially with Amorim around him, and you need to play with a bit of bite, you need to play with a bit of passion, you need to play with a bit of arrogance. As long as you give everything on the pitch, which when I watch Cunha for Wolves, he absolutely does, and you rein it in a little bit, you're a bit more disciplined, I have no issue with that. I want a player that wants to win. I want a player that's going to cover every single blade of grass, and Cunha does that. I know he does. So that's another option. There's loads of other options. People talking about Cherki from Lyon. We're going to watch him soon when we play against them. There's other players that have been touted for that number 10 role, and it's going to be a really interesting transfer window and a transfer battle to see who we end up with in that position. Knowing Manchester United, we'll just end up with someone completely random that we have no clue or idea about. But that's the situation currently. I think 70 million price set by Bournemouth for Semenyo. Forget about it. I just don't see us doing it, and I don't see us going back in for it. Really good player. I could see him ending up at Chelsea or something like that, to be honest with you. I've not even mentioned this yet. We got so caught up on talking about transfers. Transfer window's right around the corner, by the way. I can't wait for it, although we might get beat to a few transfers in the first 10 days of the window. Ayden Heaven is still in a protective boot. Image, if we can get it, put it on screen. I know it's going around Twitter, but I don't know if we can get it right now. If not, it's on the United Stand Twitter page. Go and have a look at it. Who was it, right? Who was it? I want an explanation. Make yourself known. Who told everyone that Ayden Heaven was out of a protective boot? Who? I want to know who it was. And this is why you can't always believe everything you hear. Because everyone got really excited. Ayden Heaven might not be as bad as we thought. He's out of the protective boot. He's already back in training. Literally been pictured in a protective boot. It's on the screen now. So whoever got carried away with it and decided to get everyone excited, I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted. It's like, okay, let me have a look here. I'm being told to check WhatsApp. 1 second. Oh, it was MEN who reported it. Ayden Heaven's injury is not thought to be as serious as first feared. He's now out of his protective boot and could resume training after the international break. So, yeah, anyway. Don't believe everything you hear. Maybe he was out of the protective boot and he's had a relapse and he's back into it. I don't know. But he's back in the protective boot and I'm gutted. It's like, it's like you've kind of gone looking for your presents before Christmas. You kind of take a peek and you can see exactly what you want there. It's, you're a little kid. It's the new Nintendo 3DS. You wake up Christmas morning, you open it, and it's some socks, and the 3DS was actually a present for your brother instead, and it's not yours. Not based off true life events. And it's like, oh, I well thought I was getting that, and now I'm not. You got all your hopes up, you got dead excited, and it's just not happening for you. That's how I feel about Ayden Heaven. Maybe he was out of a protective boot. He might have had a little bit of pain or discomfort, so he's put the protective boot back on for a little bit of coverage and to help him. Hopefully it's not going to be too far off. I don't want to scaremonger people and say he's going to be out for ages. I don't know the extent of this injury. We don't really get told any details about Manchester United anymore on injuries, but it's just frustrating when you thought he was going to be back and now he's not going to be. It's annoying, it's frustrating, but there is the picture on screen for you there. Anything, last but not least, oh yeah, I wanted to bring this in towards the end. This was from Stephen Railston, as I mentioned at the start of the show. I know Stephen, I know he wouldn't put something out unless he had a good source on it. And he said there is a genuine chance that Kobbie Mainoo could leave this summer. There needs to be a compromise in negotiations for him to stay, but it's thought that a move might eventually be best for all parties. Like I said at the start of the window, I'm a little bit dubious, and this is nothing to do with the people that have reported it. I'm just thinking about who's putting the brief out. I'm a little bit dubious that the Mainoo stuff continually gets reported by the British media, but there's nothing coming in from any European sources around this, and Fabrizio Romano's not said a word on it. So I would wait until Romano and Ornstein start talking about Kobbie Mainoo leaving Manchester United before you get worried or scared or start thinking, oh my gosh, how are we going to go on? Kobbie Mainoo's going to leave. I would be absolutely gutted if we sold Mainoo, because I know how much of a quality footballer he is. He does not want to leave Manchester United. He is a boyhood Manchester United fan. His whole family bleeds red, and he wants to be part of this club for the future. If he left, I think it would be a really, really sad day for the football club. He is one of the best talents that's come out of our academy in a long time, in my opinion. And people are already turning their back on him because he's had a few injuries and he's maybe not had the opportunity in Amorim's system that as many other players have. And people wondering where he fits in Amorim's system. But he's 19 years of age. It was his first senior season last year. He got overplayed. He then went and played a really big part of an international European tournament for England. Just have a bit of patience with the man. He's going to come back from injury. Hopefully he can work out where he's going to play in this Amorim system. But what I do know is he's a quality football player. Quality football player. And I have people telling me all the time, you say this about Mainoo, but then you're saying Garnacho's not got a future because you don't know where he fits. I think Garnacho is talented, but I think Mainoo's a different level in terms of his ability. I really think Mainoo has got that star quality, I really do. I would be gutted if we let him go, and I know for a fact Chelsea are looking at him and are interested in him. So it worries me. Let's see how this goes. It might literally just be a bit of agent talk. It might just be trying to get Kobbie the best possible deal, a bit of hard negotiation tactic. But I really, really hope he stays, and I really would want to know what side is putting out that Mainoo's contract demands are pretty high, and why is it going to the same sources continuously, and let's see what happens about that. But look, everyone, thank you for watching. Hit a like on the video if you've not already. Let me just quickly see the poll here on who would you prefer to sign. It's centre-back, Hulsen or Diamande. Oh, okay, so 52% have gone with Hulsen, and Usman Diamande has 48%. So it's very, very close. James DeWitt says Chelsea are interested in anything with a pulse. That is pretty true as well. If Chelsea could get on, if there was dating apps for football clubs, Chelsea would be on the lot of them. Tinder, Hinge, what else? What other dating apps are there? All the other ones, I don't know because I'm not on them. Producer knows. He knows. He's listing them off in my ear. I won't expose him. Single, ready to mingle. Hit him up. Oh God, I forgot this is live. Hopefully no one's watching. Baz W says, Beth Mainoo lacks pace for the Prem. I don't think he does. I think his weakest attribute is covering across the ground. But I think there's ways that you can cover that up as a team, and you can. The best managers get the best out of their best players by accentuating their strengths and covering up their weaknesses. Bruno has weaknesses. Every single one of the best players has weaknesses, unless you're like Ronaldo or Messi or the best players in the actual world, and even them will have a slight weakness somewhere. But it's about covering that weakness up and highlighting your strength, in my opinion. If you're a quality football player that has a lot to give in terms of output and the strengths you're providing for the team, everything can be kind of worked on and looked at. But look, thank you very much for watching. Thank you. It's been a good one. It's been a good one. Went on quite long, this 2 p.m. show, but I had just such a good time with you guys interacting with the chat. Hit a like on the video if you're not already. It is Thursday. We have loads to talk about. International break is nearly over now. Roll on Tuesday, Friday tomorrow. Thank you for watching, everyone. I will see you on the next one.